close your eyes and breathe. Let the world slow down around you. Tonight we explore patience not as a burden to bear, but as a gift to receive. 100 reasons why patience changes everything. Imagine a river flowing through a canyon. It doesn't rush or force, it simply moves steadily, and over time it carves stone into magnificent shapes. This is our first reason to have patience. Patience reveals what rushing conceals. When you slow down, you notice details that speed blinds you to. The way light changes through the day, the subtle expressions on a loved one's face, the quiet beauty in ordinary moments. The rushed person sees the world in blur. The patient person sees it in full color, rich with texture and meaning. Life becomes more vivid, more real, more worth living when you have the patience to truly see it. And in this seeing, something else emerges. Patience protects you from regrettable decisions. Think of the email written in anger but never sent because you waited until morning. The purchase avoided because you slept on it. The harsh words swallowed because you paused before speaking. Impatience makes you act on impulses that don't serve you. Patience gives you space between stimulus and response, and in that space lives your power to choose wisely. Every moment of patience is a protection against future regret. The river continues its patient work, and we discover another reason. Patience deepens your relationships profoundly. Love requires patience. To listen when you want to speak, to understand before being understood, to forgive what hurt you, to stay when leaving seems easier. The most meaningful connections in life grow slowly, like old trees with deep roots. Patience allows you to invest in these connections, to weather difficult seasons, to trust that growth happens even when invisible. Your relationships become richer, more resilient, more real when you bring patience to them. As morning light touches the river, we see how patience reduces your stress and anxiety dramatically. Impatience creates constant urgency. Everything feels pressing, demanding, critical. But patience reminds you that most things can wait, that time is more abundant than it seems, that you don't have to do everything right now. The shift from urgency to patience lowers your stress hormones, calms your nervous system, and allows you to move through life with greater ease. You breathe deeper, sleep better, and feel more at peace when patience guides your days. The river flows around obstacles rather than fighting them, and here's another reason to embrace patience. Patience teaches you to work with reality rather than against it. Some things cannot be rushed: a child's development, a garden's growth, healing from injury, learning complex skills. Impatience doesn't speed these processes. It only adds suffering. Patience allows you to align with natural time and to honor how things actually work, to cooperate with reality rather than demand that you conform to your schedule. This alignment brings effectiveness, ease, and wisdom. And the day finds the river steady and strong, revealing another truth. Patience builds unshakable inner strength. Each time you resist the urge to quit, to give up, to take the easy way out, you strengthen your character. Like a muscle that grows through resistance, your capacity for endurance expands through practice. Patient people develop resilience that carries them through life's hardest challenges. They've learned they can bear discomfort, wait through difficulty, and emerge stronger. This strength becomes a foundation you can always rely on. The afternoon sun reveals how patience enhances your creativity and problem solving. Creative breakthroughs rarely arrive on demand. They need time to percolate, space to develop, freedom to emerge in their own timing. When you have patience with the creative process, you allow ideas to mature, solutions to reveal themselves, and innovations to arise naturally. The greatest discoveries, the most beautiful art, the most elegant solutions all emerge because someone had the patience to let them develop fully rather than forcing premature answers. As evening approaches, we find another compelling reason. Patience increases your effectiveness and success. Paradoxically, slowing down often gets you further faster. Patient people make better plans, avoid costing mistakes, build sustainable systems, and create lasting results. They're not constantly backtracking to fix problems created by haste. They do things right the first time, even if it takes longer over time. This patient approach dramatically outperforms frantic rushing. Quality compounds, thoroughness pays dividends. Patience proves more productive than hurry. Twilight settles, and patience reveals another gift. Patience connects you to the present moment. And patience always lives in the future, rushing to get somewhere else, achieve the next thing, escape the now. But patience brings you home to this moment, this breath, this experience. And life only happens now. The patient person actually lives their life rather than perpetually preparing for it, waiting for it, racing through it. Presence is perhaps the greatest gift patience offers, the ability to be fully here, fully alive, fully engaged with what is. And as night falls, we discover one more reason for now. Patience cultivates gratitude and appreciation. When you rush, you consume experiences without savoring them. But patience allows you to fully receive what life offers, to taste your food completely, to really listen when someone speaks, to notice beauty when it appears, to feel joy when it arises. The patient heart is a grateful heart because it takes time to appreciate what it is rather than always grasping for what's next. Because gratitude transforms your experience of life from scarcity to abundance. Patience improves your physical health in measurable ways. When you're constantly impatient, your body stays in stress mode, elevated heart rate, high blood pressure, tension throughout your muscles. But patience calms your physiology. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure normalizes, your immune system functions optimally. Studies show patient people live longer, healthier lives. Every moment of patience is a gift to your body, allowing it to rest, repair, and thrive. And here's a beautiful truth. Patience makes you a better teacher and mentor. Whether you're teaching a child to tie their shoes or training a colleague on new software, patience transforms the learning experience. You can explain again without frustration. You can wait for understanding to develop. You can celebrate small progress. Patient teachers create safe spaces where learning flourishes, that students feel supported rather than rushed, encouraged rather than pressured. This patience echoes through generations. The morning light strengthens, revealing another reason. Patience helps you break free from addictive patterns. Addiction thrives on the need for immediate relief, instant gratification, escape from discomfort. But patience teaches you to sit with cravings without acting on them, to feel difficult emotions without numbing them, to endure discomfort knowing it will pass. Its capacity to wait, to bear, to tolerate, this is often what makes recovery possible. Patience becomes the antidote to compulsion. As the day unfolds, we see how patience enhances your learning as skill development. Mastery takes time. 10,000 hours, as they say, but impatient people quit long before mastery arrives. They want results now, success immediately, expertise without apprenticeship. Patient people understand that confusion precedes clarity, that trouble precedes strength, that every expert was once a beginner. They persist through the awkward phase, the difficult middle, the plateau that tests commitment. And eventually they master what impatient people only attempt. Mid-morning brings another insight. Patience improves your financial situation. Impatience creates debt, buying out what you should save for. Impatience sabotages investing, pulling money out when markets dip instead of staying the course. Impatience chooses consumption over accumulation, but patient people make different choices. They save, they invest, they wait for value, they let compound interest work its magic. Over decades, these patient choices create wealth that impatience can never build. The river flows steadily onward, showing us another reason. Patience makes you more trustworthy and reliable. When you commit to something with patience, people know you'll follow through. You don't quit when it gets hard. You don't abandon ship when you're not immediately rewarded. You show up day after day, doing what you said you'd do. This reliability builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every meaning of relationship and successful collaboration. Patient people become the ones others count on. Afternoon arrives when we discover that patience reduces conflict and improves communication. Most arguments escalate because someone responds impatiently, interrupting, dismissing, attacking before understanding. But patience changes the dynamic entirely. You listen fully before responding. You seek to understand before being understood. You give people space to express themselves completely. This patience communication dissolves conflicts that impatience would inflame. Differences remain, but they navigate it with respect rather than reactivity. As the sun climbs higher, another truth emerges. Patience helps you accept what you cannot change. Some things are beyond your control, other people's choices, certain circumstances, the past, mortality. And patience fights these realities, creating suffering that changes nothing. But patience allows acceptance. You still work to change what you can, but you stop torturing yourself over what you can't. This distinction between patient acceptance and effective action brings profound peace. The afternoon deepens, revealing how patience enhances your enjoyment of simple pleasures. A meal tastes better when you eat slowly. Music reveals more when you listen attentively. Conversations become richer when you're not rushing to the next thing. Nature's beauty unfolds when you pause to witness it. Patient people extract more joy from ordinary experiences because they're fully present with them. Life becomes a series of small delights rather than a blur of missed moments. And as evening approaches, we find one more reason. Patience helps you maintain perspective during difficulties. When you're going through hard times and patience makes everything worse, you want it over now. You demand immediate relief. You catastrophize about how long it might last. But patience reminds you that this too shall pass, that hard seasons eventually change, that difficulty is temporary even when it feels permanent. This perspective doesn't eliminate pain, but it makes pain more bearable. You can endure what you know won't last forever. Patience allows you to fully process emotions rather than suppressing them. When difficult feelings arise, grief, anger, fear, disappointment, and patience wants them gone immediately. But emotions need time to move through you. Patience gives them that time. You feel fully, process deeply, and eventually release completely. As emotional patience prevents the buildup of unprocessed feelings that create anxiety, depression, and physical illness. Your emotional health depends on your willingness to patiently feel what needs to be felt. And here's a powerful reason. Patience makes you a better listener. Real listening requires patience at every moment. You must wait your turn. You must resist interrupting with your own story. You must sit with silence. You must let people find their words. Patient listening is one of the greatest gifts you can give another person. It says, "You matter, your experience matters. I have time for you." This patient presence heals, connects, and transforms relationships in ways that advice-giving never can. Morning unfolds and we discover that patience helps you overcome perfectionism. Perfectionists are often deeply impatient with themselves at the learning process. If anything less than ideal outcomes. But patience teaches you that growth is messy, that mistakes are necessary, that good enough is often exactly right. You can release the exhausting demand for perfection because you have patience with the imperfect reality of being human. The self-patience is liberating beyond measure. The day progresses, revealing another truth. Patience increases your capacity for wonder and awe. Wonder requires you to pause, to allow something to fully register, to let mystery be mysterious rather than immediately needing to understand or explain. The impatient mind rushes past miracles, but the patient heart stops and marvels at a sunset, at a child's laughter, at the incomprehensible vastness of existence. This capacity for awe enriches life immeasurably, connecting you to something larger than yourself. As morning becomes midday, you see how patience strengthens your integrity. Integrity often requires patience, telling the hard truth when lying would be easier. Doing the right thing when the wrong thing would be more immediately rewarding. Staying true to your values when compromising would bring quick benefits. Patient people can bear the temporary discomfort that integrity sometimes requires. They understand that character is built through thousands of patient choices to do what's right rather than what's easy. The river flows around the bend, revealing another reason. Patience helps you appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. Impatient people orient entirely toward the goal. When I get the debris, when I make the money, when I find a relationship, then I'll be happy. But patient people know that life is the journey itself, that the getting there is the actual living, that the process contains the meaning. They find satisfaction in the work, not just the result. This transforms life from waiting room to living room. Afternoon light illuminates another truth. Patience makes you more adaptable and resilient. When plans change or obstacles appear, impatient people panic or rage. But patient people adjust. They can tolerate the discomfort of uncertainty. They can wait to see how situations develop before reacting. They trust their ability to handle what comes. This patience-based resilience allows them to navigate life's inevitable changes with grace rather than constant crisis. As the day continues, we discover that patience deepens your spiritual life. Prayer, meditation, contemplation all require patience. You must sit with silence, tolerate not knowing, allow insights to emerge in their own time. You must trust processes you can't see or control. Spiritual growth cannot be rushed. Patient people can engage these practices meaningfully, while impatient people abandon them because the rewards aren't immediate enough. Patience opens doors to transcendent experiences that hurry keeps locked. The afternoon deepens, and patience reveals another gift. Patience helps you build lasting habits. Behavior change requires patience, with setbacks, with slow progress, with the gap between intention and action. Impatient people quit exercising after a week or abandon diets when results don't come immediately. But patient people understand that habits build gradually, that consistency matters more than intensity, that small actions repeated over time create transformation. Their patience allows change to become permanent rather than temporary. And as evening approaches, one more reason emerges. Patience makes you better at reading people and situations. When you're not rushing to judgment, you can gather more information, observe more carefully, understand more deeply. You notice body language, hear what's not being said, sense underlying dynamics. This patient observation gives you social intelligence that impatient reactivity destroys. You make better decisions about who to trust, what to do, how to respond, because you took time to truly see what's happening. Let these truths settle into your awareness like stars emerging at twilight, each one a planet of light guiding you toward a more patient way of being. Night has fallen and risen again, and still the river flows, patient and eternal. In its constancy, we find more reasons why patience is essential to a life well lived. Patience helps you parent more effectively. Children develop on their own timeline, not yours. They need to ask the same question 50 times. They need to make their own mistakes. They need time to learn, to process, to grow. Patient parents provide this time without resentment. They explain again. They wait for understanding. They allow natural consequences to teach their lessons. This patient parenting creates secure, confident children who know their love for who they are, not rushed into being who they're not ready to be yet. And here's a profound truth. Patience prevents burnout. Burnout comes from pushing too hard for too long, from impatient demands for productivity, from refusing to rest because rest feels like wasted time. But patient people can accept each stage, finding value in every season. They don't waste energy wishing they were younger or fearing getting older. They're here now, in this body at this age, and that's enough. This patient acceptance of aging brings dignity and peace that resistance never can. The day unfolds, revealing how patience enhances your problem-solving abilities. Complex problems rarely have obvious solutions. They require time to analyze, multiple approaches to try, willingness to fail and try again. Impatient people demand quick fixes that often make things worse. But patient people can sit with problems, try solutions, wait for results, adjust as needed. They understand that good solutions emerge through iterative process, not instant insight. Their patience makes them far more effective at solving difficult challenges. As the sun climbs, we discover that patience makes you more environmentally conscious. Environmental care requires patience. Recycling is less convenient than trashing. Sustainable products cost more initially. Conservation requires foregoing immediate comfort for long-term benefit. Patient people can make these choices because they're oriented toward the future, toward collective good, toward outcomes they may never personally witness. Their patience allows them to care for a world they're leaving for others. Midday brings another insight. Patience helps you recover from setbacks and failures. When you fail at something, impatience either rushes to try again without learning or gives up entirely. But patience allows you to sit with the failure, extract its lessons, adjust your approach, and try again when you're truly ready. Patient people see failure as information rather than identity, as temporary rather than permanent, as part of the journey rather than the end of it. This patient relationship with failure makes eventual success far more likely. The afternoon sun reveals another reason. Patience improves your ability to delay gratification, which predicts success across nearly every life domain. The famous marshmallow test showed that children who could wait for a bigger reward later achieved better outcomes decades later. Better grades, better jobs, better health, better relationships. Patience is the ability to choose larger delayed rewards over smaller immediate ones. Every practice of patience strengthens this crucial capacity. As the day continues, we see how patience helps you manage chronic pain or illness. Living with ongoing physical challenges requires immense patience, with slow healing, with treatments that work gradually, with limitations that don't quickly resolve, with a body that doesn't cooperate with your wishes. Patient people can bear this reality more successfully. They don't add suffering to pain by demanding immediate relief. They work with their situation, adjust their expectations, find meaning despite difficulty. This patience doesn't eliminate pain, but makes it more bearable. The afternoon deepens into evening, and patience reveals another gift. Patience makes you better at giving and receiving feedback. Giving good feedback requires patience, to observe carefully before commenting, to choose words thoughtfully, to deliver criticism kindly. Receiving feedback requires patience too, to listen without defending, to consider rather than reject, to implement suggestions gradually. Patient people create cultures of growth where feedback improves rather than damages relationships. And as night approaches, one more reason emerges. Patience helps you accept help from others, and patient people refuse help because accepting it feels slow, inefficient, like losing control. But patient people can receive assistance graciously. They can teach others by letting them help, even when doing it themselves would be faster. They can be vulnerable enough to meet others. This patient interdependence creates connection that fierce independence destroys. You become part of a community rather than isolated in self-sufficiency. Patience helps you maintain boundaries without guilt. Setting boundaries often feels uncomfortable initially. People may be disappointed. Situations may feel awkward. You might doubt yourself. But patient people can sit with this discomfort, knowing that good boundaries serve everyone long term. They don't cave to pressure for immediate harmony. They maintain limits patiently, and over time, healthy boundaries create healthier relationships. This patient boundary setting protects your well-being without apology. And here's a beautiful reason. Patience makes you more forgiving. Forgiveness cannot be rushed. You can't decide to forgive and instantly feel it. You must patiently work through anger, hurt, and betrayal. You must give yourself time to process, to heal, to soften. Patient people understand this. They don't force forgiveness prematurely, but they also don't hold grudges forever. They let forgiveness emerge in its own timing, and eventually, the weight of resentment lifts. This patient forgiveness frees you from the prison of bitterness. Morning unfolds, showing us another truth.
Patience enhances your artistic and creative expression. Art requires patience at every stage of learning techniques, developing vision, executing work, revising endlessly, waiting for inspiration, building a body of work over years. Impatient artists quit when talent doesn't instantly manifest. The patient artist persists through the apprenticeship, trusting that mastery comes to those who keep showing up. The patience produces work of depth and meaning that rushed creation never achieves. The day progresses, revealing how patience helps you navigate career challenges. Career growth is rarely linear. You might need to stay in a role longer than you'd like, acquiring skills for future opportunities. You might face setbacks that delay your timeline. You might need to pay dues, prove yourself, wait for the right opening. Patient people can do this. They build expertise steadily, network persistently, position themselves strategically, knowing that good careers are built over decades, not overnight. Their patience ultimately takes them further.
As morning becomes afternoon, we discover that patience makes you a better friend. Friendships have seasons, times of closeness and times of distance, periods of intensity and periods of maintenance. Impatient people abandon friendships that require effort or don't provide constant gratification. But patient friends understand that relationships ebb and flow, that sometimes you support more than you're supported, that friendship is a long game. This patience creates lifelong bonds that weather all seasons. The river flows steadily, revealing another reason. Patience helps you cope with uncertainty and ambiguity. Life is full of unused job situations that remain unclear, relationship questions without immediate answers, decisions that can't yet be made. Impatient people force premature clarity, making bad decisions to escape uncertainty. But patient people can tolerate not knowing. They can wait for more information, for situations to develop, for the right moment to act. This patience with ambiguity leads to wiser choices. Afternoon light shows us how patience improves your sleep. The desperate desire to fall asleep immediately creates the anxiety that prevents sleep. But patient acceptance that sleep will come when it comes actually helps it arrive. Patient people have better sleep hygiene. They give themselves time to wind down. They maintain consistent routines. They don't fight wakefulness with panic. They trust their body's wisdom about rest. This patience creates the conditions for restorative sleep. As the day continues, we see that patience makes you more innovating. Iteration requires patience to experiment, to fail repeatedly, to try unconventional approaches, to wait for breakthroughs that don't arrive on schedule. The greatest innovations, scientific discoveries, technological advances, artistic movements all emerged because someone had patience to pursue a vision despite lack of immediate results. Patient innovators change the world because they can sustain effort through the long darkness before the dawn of discovery. The afternoon deepens, and patience reveals another gift. Patience helps you build and maintain community. Community requires patient investment, showing up to meetings, serving on committees, organizing events, resolving conflicts, accommodating different personalities. Impatient people withdraw from community because it's messy and slow. But patient people engage, knowing that belonging requires contribution. The community is built by countless small acts of patience over years. The patience creates the social fabric that connects us all. And as evening settles, one more reason emerges. Patience makes you more generous. Generosity often requires patience, time to volunteer, attention to listen, energy to help, money that can be spent on yourself. Impatient people hoard their resources because sharing feels like a loss. But patient people understand that giving creates abundance, that helping others enriches your own life, that generosity is repaid in unexpected ways over time. This patient generosity creates ripples of goodness that extend far beyond any single act. Patience helps you truly rest rather than just collapse. There's a difference between exhausted collapse and genuine restoration. Patience allows you to rest before you're desperate, to take breaks before you're broken, to honor your need for renewal. Patient people don't see rest as something to be earned for suffering.
They build it into their lives as essential maintenance. This patient relationship with rest creates sustainable energy rather than cycles of depletion and emergency recovery. And here's a vital reason. Patience protects you from manipulation and high-pressure tactics. Salespeople, scammers, and manipulators rely on creating urgency. Act now, limited time, don't miss out. But patient people can resist this pressure. They can say, I need time to think, and actually take it. They don't make major decisions under artificial time constraints. This patience protects them from countless bad choices driven by manufactured urgency. Mourning like strengthens, revealing of a truth. Patience makes you more observant and detail-oriented. When you're rushing, you miss things, small errors, subtle patterns, important nuances. But patient people notice. They catch mistakes before they become problems. They spot opportunities others overlook. They see connections that haste obscures. This patient observation makes them more effective in virtually every domain: work, relationships, creative pursuits, problem solving.
The day unfolds, showing us how patience helps you manage expectations. Unrealistic expectations create constant disappointment, but patient people calibrate expectations to reality. They know that good work takes time, that change happens gradually, that relationships develop slowly. This patient realism doesn't diminish hope, it makes hope sustainable by anchoring it in reality. They're hopeful without being naive, optimistic without being delusional. As the sun climbs higher, we discover that patience makes you more diplomatic and politically skilled. Diplomacy requires patience to navigate complex dynamics, to build coalitions slowly, to wait for the right moment to act, to compromise without resentment. Patient people succeed in organizational politics not through manipulation but through strategic patience. They know when to push and when to wait, when to speak and when to listen, when to act and when to let situations develop. Midday brings another insight. Patience helps you maintain humility. Impatience often stems from arrogance, the belief that things should happen on your timeline, that you know better than reality, that your urgency should bend the world. But patience cultivates humility. You accept that you're not in complete control, that some things take time regardless of your wishes, that reality has its own wisdom. This humble patience brings peace that arrogance never can. The afternoon sun reveals another reason. Patience improves your memory and learning retention. When you rush through information, it doesn't stick. But patient learning, taking time to understand, to review, to connect new information to what you already know, creates lasting retention. Patient students outperform smart, but impatient ones because they allow learning to consolidate. This patient approach to knowledge accumulates into genuine expertise over time. As the day continues, we see how patience makes you more authentic. Impatience often drives people pleasing, saying yes when you mean no, agreeing when you disagree, performing rather than being real, all to avoid the discomfort of potential conflict. But patient people can tolerate that discomfort. They can speak their truth and wait to see how others respond. They can be themselves even when it's awkward. This patient authenticity creates deeper connections in any performance. The afternoon deepens and patience reveals another gift. Patience helps you recognize and seize the right opportunities. Not every opportunity is worth taking. Patient people can evaluate carefully, discern what aligns with their values and goals, and say no to good opportunities in order to say yes to great ones. They don't grab desperately at everything available. They wait for what's truly right, and when it appears, they recognize and claim it. And as evening approaches, one more reason emerges. Patience makes you better at conflict resolution. Most conflicts escalate because someone responds impatiently, attacking, defending, demanding immediate resolution. But patient people can sit in the discomfort of unresolved conflict long enough to understand all perspectives, to find common ground, to craft solutions that work for everyone. Their patience transforms conflicts from battles into opportunities for deeper understanding.
Patience helps you manage chronic stress more effectively. Chronic stress often comes from impatience with traffic, with other people's pace, with situations beyond your control. But when you cultivate patience, you transform these situations from stressors into neutral events. Traffic is just traffic. Slow service is just slow service. Other people's limitations are just reality. This patient acceptance dramatically reduces daily stress, protecting your health and well-being. Here's a powerful reason. Patience makes you more courageous. Courage often requires patience to face fears gradually, to build skills before attempting challenges, to persist despite setbacks, to wait for the right moment to act. Patient people can do hard things because they don't expect immediate results. They can be brave enough to start even when success isn't guaranteed, to continue even when progress is slow, to keep going even when the destination seems impossibly far away. Morning light illuminates another truth. Patience enhances your leadership abilities, but leaders practice patience with team members who are still learning, with processes that take time to show result, with change that happens gradually. They don't demand instant performance or panic when results don't appear immediately. This patient leadership creates psychologically safe environments where people can take risks, innovate, and develop without fear. Patient leaders build strong teams and lasting organizations.
A day progresses, revealing how patience helps you appreciate cultural and individual differences. Different cultures have different paces, different communication styles, different approaches to time. Impatient people judge these differences as wrong or frustrating. But patient people can honor them, learning from diversity rather than resisting it. This patience creates richer cross-cultural understanding and more inclusive communities. You become a citizen of the world rather than being trapped in your own narrow perspective. As morning becomes afternoon, we discover that patience improves your time management paradoxically. Impatient people often waste time rushing, making mistakes that require do-overs, jumping between tasks inefficiently. But patient people plan carefully, work steadily, focus deeply, and accomplish more with less frenzy. They understand that time spent planning saves time executing, that patient focus beats frantic multitasking. Their patience actually makes them more efficient. The river curves around a rock that's been there for centuries, showing us another reason. Patience helps you build legacy and lasting impact. Quick wins rarely last. But patient people play the long game, planting trees they won't sit under, building institutions that will outlive them, investing in young people whose full potential they may never witness. They find meaning in contributing to something larger than themselves and creating value that extends beyond their own lifetime. This patient legacy thinking gives life profound purpose. Afternoon light reveals how patience makes you more playful and joyful. Impatience is serious, urgent, heavy. But patience is room for play, for silliness, for unproductive joy. Patient people can waste time beautifully playing with children, laughing with friends, creating art for no reason, enjoying hobbies with no goal. They understand that not everything needs to be productive, that joy itself is valuable, that play is essential to full humanity. This patient playfulness keeps life vibrant and delightful. As the day continues, we see that patience helps you question assumptions and think critically. Impatient people accept the first explanation, follow conventional wisdom, think within the box because questioning takes time. But patient people can sit with uncertainty long enough to examine assumptions, consider alternatives, think deeply about complex issues. They're not trapped by the tyranny of quick answers. This patient critical thinking leads to better understanding and wiser choices. The afternoon deepens. Impatience reveals another gift. Patience makes you better at apologizing and making amends. A good apology can't be rushed. You need to understand what you did wrong, feel genuine remorse, commit to change. Patient people can do this work. They don't offer quick "I'm sorry" to make discomfort go away. They take time to understand harm caused, to repair relationships authentically, to change behavior genuinely. This patient accountability heals wounds that quick apologies only cover. And as evening settles, where more reason emerges, patience helps her find meaning in suffering. Suffering is inevitable, but meaning is not. Finding meaning requires patience, time to process, space to reflect, willingness to sit with pain without rushing to bypass it. Patient people can extract wisdom from difficulty, growth from challenge, strength from adversity. They don't waste their suffering by resisting it or rushing past it. They let it teach them, shape them, transform them. This patient meaning, making times even the hardest experiences into sources of depth and wisdom. Patience helps you appreciate the seasons of life. Just as nature has spring, summer, fall, and winter, life has seasons, times of growth and times of rest, times of abundance and times of scarcity, times of action and times of reflection. And patient people fight against whatever season they're in, always wanting something different. The patient people honor each season, finding value in all of them, knowing that each serves a purpose in a larger cycle. This patience with life's seasons brings acceptance and peace. And here's a vital truth: patience protects your reputation. One impatient moment, an angry email, a harsh word, a rash decision can damage a reputation built over years. But patient people protect themselves from reputation destroying impulsivity. They pause before responding, consider consequences, act from values rather than emotions. This patience preserves the good name and trustworthiness that impatience can destroy in an instant. Morning light returns, showing us another reason. Patience makes you more productive in the long run. Impatient productivity is unsustainable. It burns you out, creates errors that require correction, and values speed over quality. But patient productivity is sustainable. You work steadily without burnout. You do things right the first time. You build systems that serve you for years over time. This patient approach accomplishes far more than frantic rushing ever could. The day unfolds, revealing how patience enhances your intuition. Intuition needs space to emerge. When you're constantly rushed, making snap decisions, you override your intuitive wisdom. But patient people can sit with decisions long enough for intuition to speak. They notice gut feelings, honor hunches, trust inner knowing. This patience allows them to access wisdom that pure logic misses, making better decisions by consulting both head and heart. As the sun climbs, we discover that patience helps you invest in quality over quantity. Impatient people accumulate more clothes, more stuff, more experiences, more connections. But patient people curate. They choose fewer things of higher quality. They invest in what lasts. They value depth over breadth. This patient selectivity creates lives of richness rather than clutter, meaning rather than distraction. Midday brings another insight. Patience makes you better at reading situations before acting. Military strategists, chess masters, business leaders, the best all share this capacity for patient observation before action. They gather information, assess dynamics, consider options, wait for the right moment. This patience makes their actions far more effective. They don't rush into battles they'll lose or make moves they'll regret. Strategic patience wins where impulsive action fails. The afternoon sun reveals another reason. Patience helps you recover from grief and loss. Grief cannot be rushed. You can't time mine it, control it, or make it happen faster. Patient people understand this. They allow grief its full expression, give themselves time to heal, honor the non-linear process of recovery. They don't rush themselves or let others rush them. This patient grieving allows true healing rather than just covering wounds that will reopen later. As the day continues, we see how patience makes you more coachable and open to growth. Impatient people resist feedback because changing takes time and they want to be good now. The patient people can receive coaching, knowing that growth is gradual. They can try new approaches even if they're initially awkward. They can be beginners again. This patient openness to growth allows continuous development throughout life. The afternoon deepens and patience reveals another gift. Patience helps you maintain hope during long struggles. When you're working towards something difficult that takes years, recovering from illness, building a business, changing a system, and patience breeds despair. But patience sustains hope. You can celebrate small progress. You can trust that effort compounds. You can persist because you don't need immediate victory to stay committed. This patient hope carries people through challenges that would destroy the impatient. And as the evening approaches, one more reason emerges. Patience makes you a better steward of resources. Whether it's money, time, energy, or natural resources, patient people use wisely what impatient people waste. They maintain rather than replace. They repair rather than discard. They invest rather than consume. This patient stewardship creates sustainability in personal finances and environmental impact and energy management that serves both now and future. Patience helps you develop expertise in any field. Every expert was once a beginner who patiently worked through incompetence, confusion, and countless mistakes. Impatient people quit during this crucial phase. But patient people persist, practicing when it's frustrating, studying when it's boring, failing and trying again. This patience is what separates those who dream of expertise from those who achieve it. The pathway to mastery is paved with patient persistence. And here's a beautiful truth: patience makes you more lovable. Patient people are easier to be around. They don't rush others. They don't become irritable when things take time. They bring calm rather than urgency to interactions. This patient presence makes people feel safe, valued, unhurried, while impatient people exhaust those around them. Patient people nourish. This quality of patient presence is one of the greatest gifts you can bring to relationships. Morning light strengthens, revealing another reason. Patience helps you identify what truly matters. When you're always rushing, you can't distinguish urgent from important, trivial from essential. But patience gives you perspective. You can step back, assess what truly deserves your time and energy, let go of what doesn't. This patient discernment helps you build a life around what actually matters rather than just responding to whatever's loudest. The day progresses, showing us how patience enables you to honor commitments even when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary. Patience is what keeps you going when motivation is gone. You committed to something for good reasons, but those reasons don't feel compelling today. Patient people show up anyway. They understand that feelings fluctuate, but commitments remain. This patient integrity builds character and creates results that mood-dependent action never achieves. As the sun climbs higher, we discover that patience makes you more sustainable in activism and social change work. Fighting for justice is long, exhausting work with slow progress and frequent setbacks. Impatient activists burn out quickly. A patient activist can sustain commitment over decades. They celebrate small victories, learn from defeats, pace themselves for the long haul. Their patience creates the sustained effort that actually changes systems. Midday brings another insight. Patience helps you cultivate beauty in your environment. Creating beautiful spaces takes time. Gardens grow slowly. Rooms are decorated thoughtfully. Order is established gradually. Impatient people settle for whatever's quick and easy. But patient people invest in beauty, knowing it nourishes the soul. They arrange and rearrange, plant and tend, curate and refine. This patient attention to beauty creates environments that sustain and inspire. The afternoon sun reveals another reason. Patience makes you better at negotiations. But negotiation requires patience, to listen fully, to understand all interests, to explore options thoroughly, to wait for the right deal rather than accepting the first offer. Patient negotiators get better outcomes because they're not desperate to conclude. They can walk away, keep talking, hold out for terms that serve everyone. This patient negotiation creates agreements that last. As the day continues, we see how patience helps you weather economic uncertainty. Financial markets fluctuate, economies cycle.
Patient people can ride out downturns without panic selling, can delay major purchases until timing is right, can maintain strategy during volatility. This patience protects wealth that impatience destroys the reactive decisions made in fear or greed. The afternoon deepens, and patience reveals another gift. Patience allows you to truly know people. Quick judgments are usually wrong. Real understanding takes time observing people in different situations, hearing their stories, seeing their patterns, learning their complexities. Patient people invest this time. They don't rush to categorize or dismiss. They let people reveal themselves gradually. This patient knowing creates authentic relationships based on reality rather than assumption. And as evening settles, one more reason emerges. Patience helps you complete what you start. Starting is exciting, middle is hard, finishing requires patience. Working through the boring parts, solving unexpected problems, maintaining effort when novelty is worn off. Patient people complete projects that impatient people abandon. This ability to finish creates a portfolio of completed work and a reputation for reliability that serves you throughout life. The river approaches the sea, its patient journey nearly complete. In these final moments, we discover the deepest reasons why patience matters, why it transforms not just what you do, but who you become. Patience helps you age with grace and dignity. Aging requires patience, but the body that changes, abilities that shift, the world that moves on, and patient people fight aging bitterly. But patient people accept it, finding value in each stage of life, releasing what must be released, embracing what comes. This patient aging brings peace and wisdom that resistance destroys. And here's a profound truth. Patience connects you to all of humanity. Every human struggle requires patience. Raising children, building careers, creating art, healing wounds, pursuing dreams. And you practice patience. You join the great human community of those who have chosen the harder, longer, better path. You become part of something larger than yourself, connected across time, to all who have patiently persevered.
Morning light reveals another reason. Patience makes you more resourceful and creative with constraints. When resources are limited, time, money, materials, and patient people give up. But patient people get creative. They find ways to work with what they have, to improvise, to make do. This patient resourcefulness turns limitations into opportunities for innovation. The day unfolds, showing us how patience allows you to appreciate life's mysteries without needing to solve them all. Why are we here? What happens after death? What is the nature of consciousness? Impatient people demand answers, often accepting inadequate ones just to relieve uncertainty. But patient people can live with mystery, finding beauty in not knowing, wonder in the questions themselves. This patient relationship with mystery enriches life immeasurably. As the sun climbs, we discover that patience makes you better at helping others without enabling. There's a crucial difference between supporting people and doing things for them that they need to do themselves. Patience allows you to help appropriately, giving people space to struggle productively, time to learn, room to fail, and try again. This patient helping develops others' capabilities rather than creating dependence. Midday brings a simple but vital reason. Patience makes ordinary moments extraordinary. A sunset lasts the same amount of time whether you're patient or not. But the patient person sees it fully, feels it deeply, appreciates it completely. Patient people extract more beauty, more meaning, more joy from ordinary life because they're fully present with it. This transforms daily existence from mundane to magical. The afternoon sun reveals another truth. Patience helps you break generational patterns, family dysfunction, trauma, unhealthy dynamics. These patterns don't change quickly. Breaking them requires patience to notice them, understand and change your responses, and persist through backsliding. Patient people can do this multi-generational work, healing wounds that affect not just themselves, but their children and grandchildren.
This patient healing creates a legacy of health rather than repeating a legacy of harm. As the day continues, we see how patience makes you better at celebration. Good celebration requires patience, taking time to mark achievements, to gather people, to make moments special. Impatient people rush past milestones, always focused on what's next. But patient people pause to celebrate what is, to honor accomplishment, to appreciate arrival even while continuing the journey. This patient celebration creates memories that sustain through harder times. The afternoon deepens, and patience reveals another gift. Patience helps you trust your own timing. You don't have to achieve on someone else's schedule. You can take your time, go your own pace, follow your own developmental timeline. This patient trust in your own rhythm frees you from exhaust and comparison with others. You can celebrate their success without feeling behind, knowing that everyone flowers in their own season. And now, as evening arrives and our journey nears completion, we reach the final, most essential reason to have patience. Patience teaches you that you are enough right now, exactly as you are. You don't have to rush to become someone else, to achieve more, to be different. You can patiently become who you're meant to be, trusting that growth happens in its own time, that you are already whole even while still developing, that the journey itself is the destination. This patient self-acceptance is perhaps the greatest gift patience offers. Peace with who you are now while gently working toward who you might become. The river has reached the sea, and in reaching it has not ended but transformed, becoming part of something vast, eternal. And so, it is with patience. As you cultivate patience, you don't lose yourself, you find yourself. You don't diminish, you expand. You don't weaken, you strengthen in ways that matter most. These 100 reasons are really one reason, seen from 100 angles. Patience allows you to be fully human, to live fully, to love fully, to be fully present, but the gift of existence. Will you sleep now in deep peace, knowing that patience is not something you must force, that's something you can allow, not a burden to carry, but a gift to receive, not a weakness, but the very foundation of a life well lived. Rest now, patient soul. The river flows on, teaching its lessons to all who have patience to learn, and you are learning. With each breath, each moment, each choice to be patient rather than rushed, you are becoming who you were always meant to be. Sleep well. The patient path awaits your next step, whenever you're ready to take it.